Hey, welcome back to my kitchen. My name's Vicki-Lynne, and if you're new here, it's Cooking Vegan with Vicki. I've got a really quick, easy vegan protein bar for you. Whether you're vegan or not, you're gonna love these. They're quick and simple, and you probably have all of these ingredients already in your kitchen. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need in these are dates. Now, I'm going to use medjool dates, and these ones are nice and soft. They're delicious. I love medjool dates. To be honest, I normally will take my medjool dates and then just split them in half, throw some peanut butter, any kind of butter, almond butter, stick a couple of chocolate chips in them, maybe a pecan, and that'll be a snack for me. That's how I kind of like them, as a snack. Or of course, in any of these. So if they're not super soft, these ones are pretty soft. So I might end up adding just a little bit of hot water to them. But if you don't, or you can't find them, or they're a little expensive, you can get the other delicata. No, I'm saying it wrong. Sorry. They're the other dates from Tunisia. And they're not the, I always say them wrong and I apologize. So they're the smaller ones. So those ones you would have to soak in some hot water. Just make sure that you obviously take the pit out of your dates. So all you're going to want to do is do about a cup. So these are great because they have no refined sugar. You're getting your sugar from your dates, which are all nice and healthy. So I am going to do a little, I'm going to soak these for a few minutes just in some hot water. So you're just going to pit them. The other great thing about the other dates is that they're usually already pitted. But these are like caramel. Oh, they're so good. When I want something sweet, that's what I usually go for. And when I find these dates, I usually buy several containers full of them because they're just so good. So if they have a little knob on them, take that off. You don't want that. That's where they hang from the tree. Go. And one more. Make them nice and good. Okay. There we go. So we have about a cup. So I'm going to put it in a bowl. There we go. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to get some really hot water, and I'm just going to soak them for about 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm just going to pour some hot water over these, and we're going to let those soak. Put those aside. Now we can get on to the rest of our ingredients. And so we're going to need our trusty food processor. And lo and behold, hey, I already plugged it in this time. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know I always forget to do something. Usually it's plug something in. So I'd like to think I'm doing a really good job so far today. So the first thing we're going to need is about a cup of oats. I'm using old-fashioned oats. You could use the instant, but I like the old-fashioned. Just find they have a little more structure. But again, use what you have. That's pretty simple. And to that, I'm going to use a protein powder, and I'm just using the Orgain, the vanilla. Super simple. And I'm using 2 scoops. Now, if your protein powder is a 1 scooper, then use 1 scoop. Pretty simple. Again, nothing's really difficult here. I'm also going to need 2 tablespoons of hemp hearts for some really good omega-3s and a nutty taste. Also very good for some protein. Going to add in a little bit of flaked coconut. You could use any kind of coconut that you have at home. And again, just 2 tablespoons of coconut. So far, this is super simple. And then we're going to use about 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. I'm getting to the bottom, so I'm just going to pull out what I can here. That's probably a little more than 2 tablespoons. Okay. Again, eyeball it. You'll be fine. Okay. And that's it. We're almost halfway there. We're already past halfway there. So we're just going to let our dates soak for a few minutes just to plump them up. And those already seem like they're fine. They weren't very dry. So now if your dates were much drier, they had been in your cupboard for a while, you forgot to seal your container really well, again, use boiling water, let them soak for a good 10 minutes. Mine were pretty good, so I'm going to just plop them in. Actually, I think I'm just going to mix those ingredients a little bit first. Okay. And then we're just going to break them up, put our dates in. Have our blender, our food processor out. And I'm going to save the water just in case it's a little bit dry. And we'll see if we need it or not. Okay. So now it's going to get a little noisy. Here we go, guys. So I'm going to bring you closer because I want you to see how this changes. So this is going to change and it's going to get gooey. We're going to let it run. We're going to scrape this down a little bit. So it is a little bit dry. So I'm going to add a little bit of our date water. Just a couple of tablespoons at a time. Just to help it blend in. There we go. And you see how nice and smooth that's cutting now? How it's all incorporated. That's what we want. All right. We're going to move that aside. So you can do 2 types of pans. So you can do, I'm going to do an 8x8, and I'm just going to use parchment paper just because it's going to be so much easier to get it out. Oh. I can get the parchment paper to come out. We're just going to fold in. Okay, and that's all we need. So now we're going to scrape this out. All right. So you could also do this in a loaf pan if you like them nice and thick. I'm going to make these thinner. So again, you could put them in a loaf pan. They'll be much thicker, and you'll get less. I'm just going to make these nice and thin just for a little treat. Okay. And then what you're going to want to do is smooth them out. And just use the back of your spatula. I'm going to press them into the corners. Yes, I could have done my parchment paper much nicer. I know what you're thinking. The OCD part of me is also thinking the exact same thing. There we go. So now we're going to put this in the fridge and we're going to chill this. You can also put it in the freezer for now. And then we're going to make the chocolate coating that goes on top to drizzle. Okay? Okay, now to melt our chocolate, I'm going to use the double boiler method. So I have a small pot on the bottom, and I'm going to put a glass bowl on top. Now you want to make sure that your bottom of your bowl does not touch the water below it. You could also melt your chocolate in the microwave, if that's how you like to do it, in 30-second increments, and just stir it in between. And we're going to use about 3/4 of a cup of chocolate chips, or as much chocolate as you want. And these are just Trader Joe's dark chocolate chips, which are accidentally vegan. And we're just going to use these to drizzle on. And then you're just going to let them come to a boil and then lower your temperature to just let it simmer. And this is going to take about 4 or 5 minutes. So once it starts melting a little bit, you can give it a little bit of a stir. And then just keep stirring it until it's all melted. Then when it gets to this point where there's just a little bit, I would turn the heat off. We don't want it to burn. And then just keep giving it a stir until it gets nice and smooth and shiny. Look how lovely that is. So now we're just going to spread it all over our cookie base. Don't forget to wipe the bowl, the bottom of the bowl. You don't want any of your water dripping onto your bars. So I kind of like to dollop it in the middle. And then just work. Now, if you didn't want this much chocolate on it, you could just do a chocolate drizzle. If you want it to be extra healthy, you could just do a chocolate drizzle. Then you're just going to pop these back in your fridge. A nice little swirl. Pop those back in your fridge. Let the chocolate chill. And we'll be ready to cut those and eat those. Don't those look delicious? Okay, so our bars have been chilling. Now we're just going to give them a cut. Oh, might want to let them sit for a few minutes. So I have lots of chocolate on mine.